There's no doubt holidays are amazing. They're the break we all need. Family, festive food, seeing friends we haven't seen in quite some time. But for many dancers, these same holiday excitements can bring on some major stress.
I'm Rachel Fine, registered dietitian nutritionist and founder of To The Point Nutrition. A dancer's performance is a direct result of hard work and motivation. So where does food fit into this? There's a lot of myths and a ton of antiquated ideals, and I'm here to dispel those.
Hey dancers, welcome back to Nutrition for Dancers with me, Rachel, your dance dietitian. Today, we are chatting about how to keep with your goals even when you're going home for the holidays. So for some dancers, this can be an extended period of time. For others, you are still navigating through a crazy nutcracker season. I will try to cover all aspects, but generally this discussion will focus on the dancer who's headed home and about to experience a shift in their typical routine. Let's face it, there's no doubt holidays are amazing. They're the break we all need. Family, festive food, seeing friends we haven't seen in quite some time. But for many dancers, these same holiday excitements can bring on some major stress. Schedule shifts, the inability to take class, pressures around food, unwanted comments about our bodies. There's plenty of reasons why dancers might be seeking support during this time. So today, I'm sharing a handful of practical strategies to maintain a nourishing, flexible routine while enjoying your time at home. It starts with giving ourselves permission to rest. But wait, before we continue, don't forget to hit subscribe so that you are first to know when new episodes post. You can also follow along with me on Instagram at To The Point Nutrition. By the way, I am sharing a ton of advice to get you through these holidays so that you can feel less stressed and more supported. Let's dive in. First things first, I don't want you to throw away your routine just because you're headed home. The holidays are a natural break, but your body still needs fuel, even if you're not dancing at all. Why does this matter? Irregular eating patterns often leads us to skipped meals and eventually a cycle where we feel super in control around food to shortly feeling super out of control around food. Here's the goal. Aim for your typical 3 meals and then try to get in at least 1 or 2 snacks throughout your day. I know it's not that different from when you're in your dance schedule. Likely when you're in an intense dance schedule or intense performance season, you will need to pick up those snacks a bit. But while you're home and while time is a little bit more peaceful, still aim for that flexible structure. Just as an example, maybe for breakfast, you're focusing on avocado toast, a snack mid-morning. This could be a fun fruit smoothie, especially since you're home, you might have more time to experiment with those recipes in the kitchen. Lunch, perhaps it's a wrap or a sandwich or maybe a loaded salad, whatever you prefer. Afternoon snack, maybe it's some leftovers from that holiday meal or you want to just pair some fruit with nut butter. Dinner, I'm assuming it might be more of a family style type meal. You might also have to navigate what your family is preparing for dinner, preparing for these meals. So if it's accessible to you, you can even be part of that conversation. And speaking of, you can also communicate your needs when you're going home. Speak up. If you're coming from college or an intense pre-professional dance program, loved ones might not be as familiar with your current routine. It's okay to say, hey, I need some more snack options in the house. Or I'd love to help with some of the meal prep so that I've got some breakfast bars or breakfast muffins already prepared in the freezer. Also, if certain conversations do feel triggering, especially with loved ones, particularly those that center around body comments, set boundaries. Try something like, I'm really focusing on listening to my body right now. So I'd really appreciate it if we could just skip over the food and weight comments. Setting a boundary is not easy, but it's incredibly important and even transformational. It also helps to keep things a little bit lighter and a little bit more positive. So just as a reflection, ask yourself, what's a small ask that I can share with my loved ones that will help me to feel calm and nourished while I'm back at home. Another encouraging step while you're back home, focus on mindful moments. Now's the time that you have the time to start thinking about mindfulness in your eating, in your movement, and even in how you rest during the day. Take advantage of that. Mindful eating, this means tuning in to your meals, eating slowly, experiencing the flavors, noticing the texture changes, noticing your hunger and fullness signals. We speak about this a lot within the Healthy Dancer. We call it body attunement and building that body attunement through mindfulness. It's incredibly helpful work. If you feel like you're eating at a fast pace, if you're experiencing reflux or you can barely remember what you just ate, then it's a great sign to take a deep breath and check in mid-meal. When it comes to mindful rest, I know it sounds a little funny. Think about how during this time you can decompress a bit, whether that for you is taking a nap or simply just listening to music. Maybe it's moving through a mindful activity like yoga or drawing or painting or crafting, whatever it might be. Some dancers love journaling. If accessible to you, getting quality sleep is also important. Ranges vary between what dancers need, but typically a range between 7 to 9 hours is what's encouraged, especially for my adolescent, my teen, and my young adult dancers. So quick challenge just for today, take your next meal after you finish tuning into this episode and see how mindful you can be throughout it, moving through those prompts that I just mentioned. In addition to these mindful moments comes something that's really important that a lot of dancers can forget about, and it's joyful movement. Now I get it. As dancers, we have movement built into our lives, and that movement should technically be very joyful for you. This is arguably why you're pursuing a dance professional career. I like to think that you love it and that you find joy in it. And if you don't, well, that's a whole nother conversation that we need to talk about so that you don't end up burnt out. But just to get back to this, what is joyful movement? For some dancers, that means starting to dive into other options that don't necessarily look like what you do in the studio. Coming home, it doesn't mean that you have to fully stop moving, but it can look different, and that's okay. This is a chance to try some gentler, more restorative types of movement, like I mentioned. Yoga, light Pilates, foam rolling, mobility exercises. Maybe it's just going for a walk with family and friends. Movement doesn't have to be prescriptive. It doesn't have to be because you're always wanting to improve your dance technique. Don't get me wrong, all of the training you do in the studio and even out of the studio with your cross-training routine, well, it's for that purpose. But try to find some ways to move your body that feel less structured, those that don't stress you out. For some dancers, this might be experimenting with improv or choreography, just something to consider. Another lighter but just as important reminder during this time is to stay hydrated. I know it sounds super simple, but it is something that can be forgotten when we're not in the studio as intensely. Festive days, travel, that's a big one. And those different new holiday foods, they can totally disrupt your usual fluid intake. Just as I encourage during your regular dance training, keep a reusable water bottle at home. Warm herbal teas, fruit-infused water, these can all be helpful, especially now if you have more time to enjoy them. Mint, citrus, cinnamon feels a little bit more festive for the time as well. By the way, hydration helps to support your digestion and your mood. That can be really important during this time. Now, a big thing while you're home, and I alluded to this earlier, now's the time where you can also consider tuning more into a practice like intuitive eating. Now, the nuts and bolts of intuitive eating, well, it goes beyond this episode, and it's something I've spoken about in numerous episodes, so don't forget to search and check those out. But what I want to mention is you do have the time now to really start practicing body attunement, building those mind-body connections that you often hear me speak about through all of our discussions, whether that's learning your hunger cues, honoring those hunger cues, also learning to tune into your fullness cues, assessing what foods help you to feel satisfied, what foods are still leaving you feeling hungry right after the meal. So I really want you to start focusing on that mind-body connection and really understanding, okay, well, what do my hunger cues feel like? Now, if you have come from a background of restrictive eating or disordered eating, your hunger cues are still unreliable, and that's very much where that proactive, flexible meal planning approach is still going to be helpful. But if you are relatively sustaining a healthier relationship with food, not restricting at your baseline, then home for the holidays, this is a great time for you to start practicing those techniques, those intuitive eating techniques, along with breaking those food rules, trying new foods, as we call it, making peace with food, where those mindful eating patterns can come into play. If you'd like to learn a bit more about this, then just reach out or go check out my blog, because they're all topics that I have covered in depth. So what are a few takeaways during your time at home? Don't throw away your routine. You can still keep that flexible structure, but you can start thinking about more techniques like intuitive eating and a more mindful approach around your food, around your movement, and even around your rest patterns. Also, communicate your needs and set boundaries if and when they need to be set, particularly around those food and body comments that unfortunately cause you to feel super doubtful. Last, focus on gentle movement and remember to stay hydrated. Thank you for spending your time with me today. My hope is that our discussion today helps you to build more ease into your time at home during the holidays. Don't forget to press subscribe so that you are first to know when new episodes post. Also, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I'm at @ToThePointNutrition. I post a lot during this time of year because this often is a stressful time of year for my dancers that are either on layoff or headed home for the holidays. So access that information, take it with you, feel supportive. That's what I'm here for. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon.